If you own an old Jeep Cherokee, you'll know those fog lights are garbage and they're not even bright. So in this Burnout Extra, I'm going to show you how to change the fog lights to nice LEDs in a 2000 Jeep Cherokee. It requires a little bit of wiring and installation, but the new fog lights that are LED that I have linked down in the description, those actually come with a mounting bracket. So if you want an upgrade to make your fog lights slightly brighter, this is nice. So follow along step by step. I'll show you how to install these in your 2000 Jeep Cherokee or similar year. Let's get started. So this is the fog light that comes in the kit, and this is one of the brackets that comes along with it. And ultimately that's what you're gonna wanna use. So you're going to reuse the hole from the old fog light. I'll show you that in a moment, but that's straight up in here, right where that fog light mounts. And you're gonna use that hole with the new bracket for this hole. And then obviously this bracket is designed for this fog light and you will use that from there. But ultimately you will want to mount this bracket where the old bracket went, and then this will mount just below it. And actually this curve in the bracket makes this fog light adjustable, so you can put it at the right angle as well as the right tilt for shining your lights forward. However, the first thing you want to do is actually cut off the plug from the old one. So I've done that already. I just snipped it off on both sides. This is the plug off the old fog lights that went directly into the fog light housing. Ultimately, this plug is key because you can wire this up to your new light and then still just be able to plug this into the car like it's normal, like it was made to be, and still have it function properly. So not mandatory to keep this plug, but definitely will save you some time of crimping those wires later on if you're able to just cut this piece off. So right now I'm gonna show you that you're gonna need to crimp this piece onto the new light using a crimping tool and a couple wire connectors, and then from there we'll be good for install. So let's do that now. So you can actually go check out the video up in this corner of the screen, and that will link to a wire crimping and wire stripping video. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. For these plugs specifically, for some weird reason, you want to take the black wire on the old plug and match it up to the red wire on this new light. So black to red, and then blue to black. Ultimately, if you're not sure what that is, just test it by touching them together with this plugged into the car with the switch on, and that will tell you which ones go which way, because it does matter. But yeah, crimp these together. I'm using just a wire connector. Once again, you can find all that in the video that I linked. And once these are crimped and this is together and it's just like a normal plug, then you will be good to put some electrical tape around it and slap it in. Next, you want to get the bracket and the bolt. I swapped bolts because mine was a little bit rusty, but the bolt that was holding in your old fog light that threads right into that spot, you're going to want to reuse that. So make sure it fits into this bracket. If it doesn't, just grab a different bolt that has the right head to fit in here. And ultimately, this entire bracket will thread in to the spot where the old fog light was. So you want to make sure that this bracket is curved down. That will allow you to put bolts in from the top like this into the new fog light itself. So like I said, it's going to go like this, up and into the car, but you're gonna have to thread it on. And that's what we're gonna do right now. So you can see I'm now threading in the bolt, but eventually it's going to get too far in and I'm just gonna have to thread it like this. And you want it nice and tight because you definitely don't want the fog light coming loose. You do want the bracket piece at the back of the car as opposed to the front of the car, because you want to be able to mount the fog light inside of the bumper, not outside. So you're going to want that there. If you're worried about it coming loose at all, you can throw an extra nut on the top of that bolt. Although it is threaded, it would be stronger with an extra nut. So like I said, if you're a little worried about it slipping loose because the fog light has some weight to it, then you can do that. But that's in. Now let's put the fog light in. So back to the fog light itself, it will have two sliding nuts that will go back and forth inside the fog light housing. You will need two bolts that ultimately thread into these nuts like so. So you'll want it to go right into there and be able to thread in. So ultimately you want to slide it through the top of that bracket that we just installed, down and into one of these nuts. I'm also gonna throw some washers on either side because that will help it as well. But these nuts might be hard to line up at first. However, once you have those in the right spot and in the right place with the fog light, then you can just put the bolts down. So those bolts will be tough to get into those nuts and make sure that's aligned correctly because there's not a lot of space in order to see it. However, once you have the 2 bolts lined up correctly, tightened down, everything is good there, you will simply want to plug this into the original plug, which dangles around here with this self-locking into place there, that little plastic clip. So you want to plug this in, ultimately double check that it works, and then you can wire tie up the excess wire into the bumper, into the back of the bumper. But once again, make sure that it's tightened down nice and secure, and make sure it's angled at the right way you want. As I mentioned, that bracket is curved, so you can kind of face it different directions, but it will sit slightly behind the bumper with this specific fog light. These are a little bit bigger than the stock ones, so it won't kind of put in place inside that bumper or the lower bumper. However, it will sit right behind and shine through. So these aren't an exact fitment for this car, but they're probably the best bang for your buck for something like this or similar. And to be honest, the size is pretty nice for how bright it is. So like I said, once you have it tightened down, plugged in, be sure to check it, make sure it works, but you are good to go on your new fog lights for a 2000 Jeep Cherokee. That's going to be all for this video. Hopefully this helped you figure out how to install these yourself, and we will see you next time here on The Burnout Show. Thanks for watching.